Hi, welcome everybody to our continuing webinar series. Today we're going to be talking about Shopify and configuring unified commerce. We're definitely very excited about this one today. We've got some special guests, we've got some fun giveaways, a lot of great stuff, super interesting topic. Definitely lots to talk about. We only have an hour, so hopefully we'll get as much in as we possibly can. Please feel free to ask questions. We do have some people on the team here checking out the chat on the on the video for YouTube. So let's jump right into it. So I want to go ahead and start by letting you know who our hosts are going to be today. We're very excited about having somebody from the Shopify side helping us out. So today we've got Danielle from Shopify, we've got Patrick from Sunrise, and I'm Dean from Sunrise Integration. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Danielle and let you introduce yourself to everybody.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Great to meet you all. Super excited to be here today. My name is Danielle, as Dean mentioned. I'm on our Shopify retail team here. Been with Shopify for about 2.5 years in various roles, but super excited to chat with everyone today about unified commerce.
Cool, Patrick.
Awesome. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Patrick, digital commerce consultant and director of business development here at Sunrise Integration. I will also be manning the chat today, so keep the questions coming. We love the engagement. Let's get started.
Cool, thank you. And lastly, I'm Dean. I'm the CTO at Sunrise Integration, and I'll be kind of taking you through everything and walking you through the actual Shopify screens. So let's jump back into it. As I mentioned earlier, I do want to remind everybody that we are very much trying to make this a Q&A type session. So please feel free to use the chat along the way. I'll pause and let you guys ask some questions, and Patrick will let us know when we want to jump back and have the team answer it. We're also super excited about being able to give away some cool stuff. We have a whole lot of interesting things. We've got these cool water bottles. Yeah, I don't know. Let me jump back here, Patrick. What do you got besides the water bottles? I think we have some other cool swag, right?
We got a whole gift basket to put together here. We've got some Shopify notebooks. We've got some Sunrise hats. And we've got this light up box that I guess you have to get creative with how you're going to use it, but you can write on it. Comes with a little dry erase marker and eraser. And yeah, it looks like you can hang it on your doorway, whatever you want to do with it.
There you go. Kind of write down the millions of dollars that you're making on Shopify and letting everybody know, basically. Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so Patrick's going to be in charge of that, giving it away some great prizes and everything. So you want to cozy up to him for sure. So let's jump right into it. We've only got an hour. So what are we going to be talking about today? So this is really all about unified commerce, putting everything together, defining what that's all about so everybody kind of understands. Obviously, once we talk about unified commerce, we're going to want to know, well, how does Shopify support unified commerce? So we're going to talk about Shopify's global administration panel. We're going to jump into some retail and point of sale. How does your point of sale system integrate with the core Shopify system? And then, of course, orders and inventory, right? How do you take all your orders, all your inventory, put it all together into this kind of unified commerce solution? And of course, as we mentioned along the way, definitely save a lot of time for Q&A. So please feel free to queue those up in the chat. Jumping into it, let's start by defining the obvious question here. What is unified commerce? And probably the best way to think about it is more of like a strategy. So unified commerce isn't a thing per se. It's this idea, it's this concept saying that I have all these different business and commerce entities. How can we combine all of this data, all of this information, all of these services kind of into one platform or one place? And then I think the obvious question is well, why, right? Isn't it okay to have a bunch of different systems all over the place? Why would you want to combine everything? And so if you think of it like a bunch of puzzle pieces, right? The idea is that if you can bring together all these different parts of the puzzle, all these different pieces that you have, you're going to get a much clearer picture. So in kind of a typical retail environment or a typical e-commerce environment, you're going to have a lot of different pieces of the puzzle, let's call it, right? You might have a point of sale system for your retail stores. You can have like products and inventory, and those could be coming maybe from like different suppliers, different drop shippers, or other retailers with whom you have a relationship. You're going to have customers, right? Everybody who signs up and orders something. So you're going to have these list of customers, and maybe you're using another system to send them emails or something like that. And then, of course, at the end of the day, orders, right? You're going to have orders, and those are going to be coming from all these different systems. So if you've got everything in a separate place, in a separate area, it's really difficult to make really quality informed decisions. So if we look at the unified commerce strategy, the idea is to take all of these puzzle pieces, put them together, so now you can make your decisions with all of the information, right? You have a complete picture of all of these different pieces. So now what the things that you're doing apply to everything. So if you don't have everything together, you're going to end up with a hole, right? You may have some customers, you may have some orders, but you don't have your retail, or you don't have your point of sale, or you don't have your inventory. So getting everything together, putting it all in one piece, is really going to help you make a really, really good informed business decision. And this is something people are asking for. So, so from our side, we're a digital agency. Danielle, of course, is with Shopify, and we're hearing the same things. And we're hearing a lot of merchants asking these questions. And a lot of times, they're not necessarily knowing what they're asking for. They're just coming with problems saying, gosh, is there a way for me to combine my inventory? Is there a way for me to combine my products and my orders? And what they're actually asking for is, in fact, unified commerce, a unified solution. And the reason we're here today is to talk about how Shopify can actually support that. Before we kind of jump into any demos or anything, though, I do want to kind of go back to the hosts here and pose a question, which is, what are we seeing? What are merchants out there asking for? What are we hearing the people, the real world people asking for? So I'm going to jump back to the team here, and maybe we can start with Danielle over at Shopify. What are you hearing people asking for, in this type of a solution?
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest thing I hear every day is like, how do we take these different puzzle pieces and plug them together without having to build kind of separate integrations and go with third-party apps? I think people are really looking to simplify their tech stack and have everything in one place, kind of as you mentioned, Dean. But I even like to think about it from the customer perspective as well. Recently I actually purchased some clothes online from an online retailer. They actually have physical locations here in Canada now, and sizing was wrong. I went to the store trying to do a quick exchange. They had the new size that I wanted, but ultimately I couldn't actually exchange it in store or refund it in store. They wanted me to send it back to Barcelona because that's where their online was managed from. So from a customer experience, kind of disjointed, kind of disappointing that, I had to then leave the store and go through a separate process. So where unified commerce comes in is really simplifying that front end customer experience and really enhancing it wherever your buyers are. So that would be kind of the big one that stands out for me, even as a customer myself.
Yeah. And that's, obviously the for any retail store, the last thing you want to do is make your customer feel like, oh, I don't have an option here, right? I literally have to leave. I can't get what I want. You're kind of losing a sale. So that's definitely one of the worst things that you would want to do as a retailer. Patrick, from an agency side, we work with a lot of different, people and different merchants. What are you seeing? What do you hear people asking for?
Yeah, so I mean, to echo Danielle, obviously the opportunities to have an improved customer experience are a big focal point, but also on the flip side of that, having a more unified management, reporting, and kind of administrative experience is really one of the biggest motivators. If you're using kind of a third-party point of sale, you're also looking at using a different either out-of-the-box integration or custom integration. These are all different technologies to manage, to update, that don't really speak to each other in the same way that Shopify and Shopify Point of Sale does in one kind of unified system. So the customer experience and definitely the administrative experience and syncing product catalogs, inventory, all these different things across multiple locations. The list goes on and on, but so do the benefits of using Shopify and Shopify's Point of Sale at the same time. So that's kind of the main things we're hearing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really, what here just in a few seconds I'm excited to show you is the fact that Shopify does have a solution for this. Before, as I mentioned earlier, with all these different systems, you're going to have different interfaces and different UIs, and you have to log into this platform and log into that platform. really difficult to make an informed decision to keep everything in one place. And Shopify has a solution for that. So let's jump right into it so we can show you how Shopify is solving some of these things with their platform and their technology. So I'm going to jump right into Shopify. So this is the administrative screen for Shopify, the admin center, and this is really the core and the heart of everything. So when we talk about, unifying your commerce, having all these different pieces, point of sale, customers, orders, and everything, when you look at the Shopify administration, the first thing you'll notice is that all of that is here inside of this main control panel. So when you sign up with Shopify, you have access to this main administration section. So you can see here, you've got your orders, you've got products, customers, your finance, analytics. For those of you with retail stores, you've got your point of sale. So the idea here is that Shopify has created one singular location to bring all of this information together. So you don't have to go to another system to see your point of sale. You don't have to go to another system to see your order information or your customer information. It really brings it all together. And probably one place where this is really, really most exciting is on the point of sale side, on the retail side. So again, in the past, a lot of times point of sale systems are entirely different platforms from your e-commerce system. Shopify, it has this amazing thing where they have an integrated point of sale. So you can take Shopify's online store, have the Shopify point of sale system, and combine both of them together. So now you have just the single platform. So all of your orders, all of your products, all come from this one unified location. So if you're running Shopify, you can see here in this administration panel, as soon as I turn on my point of sale services, I now have the point of sale sales channel available to me right from this administration. So I can actually click into the point of sale here and manage everything that I need to do from all of my different point of sale retail locations right from the screen. So for example, here in this demo that I'm showing you in this demo location, I've got 4 different retail locations. I've got my store in Arizona, Los Angeles. I've got my online store, New York, Texas. So I have a lot of different retail locations, and I can see and manage all of them right from within this control panel here. So instead of having to, call up the manager at the Arizona location here and say, hey, how many sales did we get today, or who's online there, or what does the system look like over there, you can actually pop into this control panel and get all that information right from this screen. And what's also really cool about it is you can also control the actual Shopify app itself with some really cool settings that have just been added. So a couple days ago, there was the Shopify editions, summer editions, and they talked about a bunch of really, really cool features that came out. And one really super exciting feature was, again, talking about being able to kind of give you extra management controls, is the ability for you to go in and manage your smart grid. So what you can do now is take any of your different locations, your retail locations, and you can actually go in and start managing the layouts for those locations using this new smart grid editor. So you no longer have to physically go to the location, go to the app, go to the actual retail store. You can just log into the control panel, go to your different locations, set up the UI for that location, and then apply it to all of your retail stores. So for example, like you see on the screen here, I've got the layout for my point of sale. I've added some customer stuff. I've added some things for discounts. And then on the right-hand side here, I can just click and decide to apply that to each of these stores. So if I'm a manager, if I'm a global manager for my particular location, when it comes time for me to do like staff training or hire new people, I no longer have to guess, what does the Arizona store have? What apps are they using, or what do they have on their retail screens, or what does the New York store have? You can now manage all of your locations from this area here, set up the layouts, the screens, the apps from a unified standpoint, and now your training becomes very simple. You don't have to guess. You can just do one simple training session. So that's going to save you time. It's going to save you money because you can put it all together here in one location. So it's really great that again, from a unification standpoint, all of your stores are here, all of your locations. So in addition to being able to kind of set up what everything looks like, you can see all of your sales, you can see all of your orders, and put it all together here inside of the point of sale side of things. I always feel I've been talking for a lot, so I do want to kind of pause and see if we've got anybody kind of asking any questions about the point of sale side. Patrick, how are we looking?
Well, we did have one question come in Oh, and we just got another, but we can address both of them. So the first question isn't really directly related to the point of sale, but just asking about ownership of data and customer emails. So just to address it here, one of the best benefits of selling on your own Shopify store is you're going to be able to have access to all of your customer information, email information, purchase history, and everything tied to that customer. And then the other question that's maybe more related to the point of sale, Nelson Rodriguez is asking, can we customize the receipt for the customer? So on the point of sale, can we actually customize the receipt?
I can jump in on that one. We sure can. Fully customizable. And even from a hardware perspective, we do have the ability to kind of customize that customer facing screen as things are getting scanned in as well.
Cool. Thanks, Danielle. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, why don't we take a quick peek at that? I'm going to jump back here into the administration screen again inside of Shopify and show you actually how simple that is through this control panel. So again, jumping back to the administration panel inside of Shopify, you can do everything within here. So this is going to be your unified global administration. So we can click into point of sale. We can go to the settings area here. And now you've got the ability to do a lot of different things for your point of sale systems. And right here, you've got the receipt customization. So you can click into the receipt customization, and now you can do everything you want to do. Put logos, decide what you want to show on the actual receipt itself, add headers, footers, all kinds of great stuff. And what's really cool is this admin's pretty easy. You can literally just click things on and off. So you can decide to say, hey, do I want to show the SKUs of the products? I click that. And you can see in real time on the right-hand side here, a little bit of a preview. It shows you what the receipt's going to look like. So you can actually very easily customize it, make it look exactly how you want. You can add your own logo. You can put information about the store. For some people doing kind of some fancier stuff, you can also turn on a QR code so that way you can easily make it so when somebody gets the receipt, they can just scan the QR code and have additional information about what they need to do. For example, this could be a good use case going back to what Danielle was mentioning earlier. You could put a QR code to make returns very easy. So now the customer could say, oh, I want to return something. Oh, hey, look, there's a QR code on this receipt. I can scan it, and that can give you all kinds of information about how to handle returns, how to handle exchanges, all kinds of fun stuff like that. And it's literally on the receipt. So you're giving the customer a really easy place to know and remember what to do from the receipt that they get from the point of sale. Cool. So that's the point of sale side of things. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So again, a lot of really great stuff you could do from the actual administration panel. And retail is a big part of this, right? So when you think about a unified commerce solution, that's probably the big thing that you think about. I've got an online store and I've got a retail store, right? These point of sale systems, and I want to kind of put them all together. So that's probably one of the first pillars of this unified commerce type of strategy, which is how do I make sure that my retail, my point of sale systems, and my online store are working together. Another piece of that, though, is going to be products. So now that you've got your online store, and now that you've got your retail store, the next obvious thing is going to be, well, how do I stock it, right? I need to put products inside of each of those stores and inside of those locations. And this is probably one of the biggest places, that we hear customers concerned about, which is, oh my gosh, how am I going to make sure that I have enough inventory from one location or to the other? This seems like a very, very common problem. And so by being able to unify everything inside of this platform, you can actually take your products, load them into your Shopify store, and then assign them to all of the locations that you have, including your retail stores, including your online store, and then actually setting up how much you have on hand. So in the example I'm showing here, I've got this fun little beanie hat that we've got here, the classic beanie propeller hat, and I want to be able to sell it in multiple places. So because Shopify is aware of the fact that I've got my point of sale system connected, I can actually decide to say where I would like to publish this particular product. So Shopify allows us to first off manage the sales channels. So by clicking in this setting here, I can decide to say, well, you know what? I want to sell this in my online store, or I don't want to sell it in the online store. I want to make it available to my point of sale system, or I don't want to make it available to my point of sale system. So you can see there's a couple great options here for first off deciding where you want this product to be sold. Once you've designated where, now you can actually connect your inventory. So if I click on this product here, you can see that all of my locations that I have set up inside of Shopify are showing the inventory values for those locations. So in this particular case, I've got my online store, and then I have my retail store in New York. Now, let's say I've decided that I want to start selling this particular product at my Arizona retail location. By simply clicking here in my locations, I can now turn on all of the different connected stores that I have. And so once I tell Shopify, yeah, I've got this product, I'm going to go ahead and sell it in all these other locations, you can now start assigning values, quantity values for each of the different stores. So now Shopify is going to be aware and is going to tell all of your locations, hey, here's how much I've got at this location. Here's how much I have at that location. So for example, like let's go to this Texas store here and let's put in, I'm just typing in something randomly here. You'd probably do a more accurate product count. But I'm basically saying, hey, I've got 44 units available at the Texas retail store. Now, in this example here, you can see that my Los Angeles retail store, I'm saying I want to sell this product at the store, but I actually don't have any on hand at the store. Because of the fact that Shopify is now location aware, the retail merchant at the retail staff at the store could tell the merchant, the customer, hey, you know what? I actually have 44 available at this Texas store. I can ship it from the Texas store to you. Or maybe this customer is actually from Texas and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to be flying home to Texas. I can go pick it up at the Texas store. Sure. So again, because you've got all these locations, because Shopify is location aware, you can now do these really cool things in your retail store. So going back to Danielle's example earlier, if the retail merchant was using Shopify, instead of saying, oh, there's nothing I can do, I don't have any awareness of my inventory, the staff at the store could have easily and quickly said, well, I have another one here in the online store. Let me go ahead and mail it to you. Or, hey, you can pick it up at the retail location. So being able to be aware of your products and your locations really gives you a really great way to help your customers and let them know how they can pick up your products. So I'm going to pause for a second. As always, I'm going to jump back here to our conversation screen. Patrick, any questions? Anybody's asking about products or inventory?
We did, and I think you covered some of this, but John asks specifically, how does Shopify Point of Sale help retailers manage their product catalogs across online and physical stores? So I think you went into some detail on this right as he was asking the question, but if there's any other insights or screens that you could share in the console, I'm sure that would be beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. I think we definitely showed some of that. So maybe this is a good discussion topic. So Danielle, how are you seeing like merchants, what kind of problems do they typically have with their products and their inventory and trying to kind of maintain the right stock numbers and quantity values? Are you seeing that as really being a big problem, and is Shopify helping them out with that?
Definitely when point of sale and online are kind of two separate entities, that's one of the biggest issues. I often hear from merchants that they're having to spend a lot of time like reconciling and updating their inventory in one system, and same thing with orders. So ultimately, it's kind of like a time-consuming thing when they're separated, whereas when we're on this kind of idea of unified commerce, really everything is updating in real time. So whether a transaction is happening online or it's happening in one of your physical locations, your inventory, your orders, your customers, everything should be updating in real time with that. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good. And then going back to what we mentioned earlier about kind of customer satisfaction, right? The last thing you want to do is have somebody come to a store or somebody go on to the online store ready to buy something, and the store says, well, sorry, we don't have any, but you actually do have some on stock. It just hasn't been properly synchronized, right? The two systems aren't speaking to one another. So you're going to lose a sale, and that's the last thing you want to do as a merchant, of course. So making sure accurate numbers and accurate inventory is pretty critical. Patrick,
I might just chime in with, sorry. Another idea came to me, and just maybe something worth mentioning is, we're talking about online sales through your Shopify store, supporting, in-store transactions and all the benefits there. But, all of this does extend to marketplaces that you're selling through, right? So like unified commerce really brings in all of these sales channels, not just your own Shopify store and your physical stores, but other places that you might be selling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So another really kind of great benefit I want to jump into is when you do have your online store and you do have your retail stores connected, you can do something I think everybody is doing these days, which is buy online, pick up in store. So this is something that's really, really, really exciting that, unless your systems are connected, it's difficult to do. Luckily, Shopify connects all of this. So what you could do for any typical product or any location is you can go into your settings inside of Shopify once you've set up all of your different locations, and you can tell Shopify to make certain locations available for pickup in store. So going back to the Shopify administration panel here, when I go into my settings and I look at the shipping area, I can now go to this section that's called Pickup in Store. And by clicking in this, it looks at all of my locations, all the locations that I've loaded into Shopify, and it allows me to say, I'm going to make some of these locations pickup points. So for example, some of your locations might not be consumer friendly, right? Maybe it's a warehouse or something and customers can't necessarily walk up to it. So not every location necessarily is going to allow customers to pick up product. So that's why you can look at all your locations here. By clicking on a location, you can activate this option here to offer pickup. And so you can see here that I've got my Los Angeles store and my New York store offering pickup. So when I turn on that option, the online store is going to alert my customers that they can actually pick something up in store. So I'm going to pop over here to the front end of one of of this particular store. So this would be an online experience. So let's say, for example, I'm a customer here and I want to buy some of these supplements, and I look down and I can see, oh look, the online store is telling me that this product is actually available for me at this location. And I'm let's say that I'm in New York, I can see, well, look, the New York store actually has it. Well, this is great. So I don't necessarily have to wait for something to be shipped to me. I can see here that it's available in New York. And if I maybe had multiple locations, you can see here that I can check other locations as well. So by clicking here, I can see, oh, look, it's available at this retail location. It's also available at this other retail location. So this is really great. So now you're giving your customer options. So now they can decide to say, oh, maybe I want to pick it up in store, or maybe I actually just want to have it shipped to me. So now the checkout process is really great. So I'll show you what that looks like here. I'm going to add one of these to my cart and go to the checkout step. So now, because I've turned on the pickup in store, and because I've got the ability to actually ship online, you'll see here that in the checkout step, it's now giving me options. So I, as the customer, can say, well, let me just go ahead and ship it to my house. Or you know what? I do, in fact, want to pick it up in the store. And so when I select this option, you can see the locations that I've designated that are pickup locations and that do, in fact, have that product in stock. I can now choose it here during the checkout step. So this is a perfect example of the things that we just talked about, where you've got your retail locations, you've got your products. The products are being assigned to locations. They have accurate inventory counts. This is a perfect example of now you're giving your customer lots of really great options here. I can buy online. I can pick it up in the store. I can do all of it right from within the screen here. And with what we were saying before about making customers super happy, this is great. Customers love options. They love to know that there's multiple ways that they can get their product. Some people want to scratch that itch and go pick it up right away. They can still ship it right online. They can ship it here to themselves if they want, or they can pick it up in the store. So this is I think a really, really great example of how you can take all of these different elements, put them all together. They're working in concert, again, the unified commerce, as we've been talking about here, and really giving a really, really great experience. So I'm going to jump back here to our discussion mode. Patrick, how are we looking? Any questions around anything that we've talked about so far?
Well, you answered one of two additional questions that came in around supporting buy online and pick up in store.
Great.
Another question that came in from Alex, can you do inventory transfers in Shopify between locations rather than manually adjusting inventory numbers?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Danielle, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. You absolutely can. Sorry, Dean, I wasn't sure if you were going to show it there, but you can absolutely do transfers between your locations, both from the admin and from the point of sale screen.
Cool. How are we looking, Patrick? Any other questions?
I think that's it. The other question that came in was just about supporting buy online, pick up in store, and I think you covered that. So we're all set.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, moving on here. All right, I want to be conscious of time. So we talked about the retail, right? We've talked about your point of sale. We talked about your products, right? All of this great stuff kind of working together. The end result, of course, of all of this at the end of the day is orders, right? You want to have orders coming into your system. You want to be able to track all of your orders. And so this is where having everything connected is really great. So in the Shopify administration, I'm jumping back to the administration panel here. You see you've got this orders area. And because we've got our different retail locations loaded into Shopify, in addition to our online store, we now have the ability to take any order that comes in from the system, and it all comes into this order section inside of Shopify. And then what I can do is I can actually look at each of my individual locations separately to track how things are going. Or I can look at all locations. So I'm going to start with all locations just to give you that kind of grand unified view. So by selecting all locations from this drop down here, the Shopify orders area is now showing us everything. It's combining your retail locations, it's combining all of your online stores, and giving you a complete list of all of the orders that you have inside of your system. Let's say, for example, you say, well, you know what? I really only care about the online store. Maybe you're kind of one of the online managers. So you can very quickly set this to just view the online locations and assign one of your staff members to say, hey, you're going to be my online manager. And so now you don't have to look at the clutter of any of the other orders or anything and all like that. You can now have access just to the online orders themselves. So you can see here, for example, I've selected online orders. I've switched this over. I'm now looking at just the orders for my actual online store itself. And then you can click into any of the orders and see the information that you would expect to see, right? So you can see what they've ordered, you can see the locations, you can see the shipping address, and you can see all that stuff from the order itself like you would for any particular order. Obviously, this is a test store, so that's why it says test. You know, this is just kind of a fake test order. And you can do the same thing for your online orders. So let's say, for example, I was the manager for the retail store in New York. I can switch my view over here, and now I'm seeing just my orders that are point of sale. And so you see exactly here, it's actually showing you that this is coming from that point of sale channel. So it's pretty nice to be able to see that, this is a point of sale order, this is an online order. So now you have the ability to see everything here. So I can then, click into this online order, and you can see it came from the retail location. Here's what they ordered. Here's the customer's information. So you get all the same great information that you can get from the online orders, you can get from your retail orders as well, all from within this particular location. And what's great is here's the ability for you actually to manage everything from within this screen. So going back earlier to what Danielle was mentioning, let's say, for example, you needed to handle refunds for this online order, or you needed to handle a return for this online order. So even though you're not at the physical location, you technically can go to this order in the administration panel here, and you can see in the top, you can start initiating refunds and returns and starting that process right from this administration panel. Of course, it can be done in store. Sure, that's no problem. But again, trying to kind of unify things, maybe Danielle said, you know what, I can't make it back to the store, but I can hop online and chat with one of the sales representatives, and they can say, sure, I can handle the return from here. And so this is an example of where, even though this is an online point of sale order, I can still go in and say, all right, I'm gonna give a refund, and I can say, maybe this particular product here was the wrong size or something like that. So I can initiate the refund from within here. You can see that you can handle the refund amounts. It will automatically apply the refund back to the original payment method, and that's all controlled from this screen within here. You can also initiate and handle the returns. So by clicking in this section here for the returns, you can now kick off that process. So again, going back to Danielle's example, maybe she decided, hey, here's some article of clothing that is maybe the wrong size and I don't like it, and I want to initiate a return. So you can just say, I want to return one of these, and then you can select the reason. You can say, this was, size was too small, size was too large. So you can put in the reasoning. You can say how many units are being returned, and then you can manage the return from within this screen here, and just really click and say, I'm going to start the return. So this is a really great way to, again, even though it's an online order, even though it's a point of sale order, you can manage it online and vice versa. So you can handle all of it from this administration section from one kind of unified location. I'm going to leave this section here. I don't want to actually do the return. You can manage it all from the single control panel, which is great. And what's also really cool is that you can also manage your draft orders from within the online stores and from within the point of sale retail stores. So inside of this draft area here, you can see that I've got some draft orders in the system. So what's really great in the retail side of things, recently Shopify allowed that point of sales can create draft orders, right from the actual screen itself. So if you're, for example, if you're in the retail store, maybe you're saying, "Oh, I want this," and you're putting a bunch of things, you take a bunch of cool stuff up to the counter, and they're ringing you up, putting everything together, and you decide, "Oh, you know what, maybe you can't pick it up at that moment in time," or maybe you're flying home and you realize you don't have enough room in your suitcase or something. The staff member can actually save that order. They can say, "Well, you know what, no problem, I'm going to save that order and we're going to email it to you. We're going to save it as a draft order." And so what's going to happen is inside of this area here that you can see that I'm showing on the screen, your point of sale orders can be saved in the system as a draft order. So what's really cool about that is now you can complete that order in a couple different ways. You could potentially come back to the store later and they could find this draft order, pick it up again. All the products are in the cart. Everything that you wanted to pick is going to be available, or they could email it to you. So the administrator inside of Shopify could click on this particular draft order and say, "Hey, let me go ahead and send this invoice to the customer." So now you can actually get the item shipped to you and you can handle it online. Again, maybe for some reason you couldn't actually take it in the store, but now you can do it all online. So this is a really great new way, again, connecting your online and connecting your retail stores by utilizing these draft orders back and forth. And I know it's kind of a recent change that Shopify has done. We think it's awesome. We've seen a lot of really great, customers kind of using this. I'll jump back to our discussion mode. Danielle, how have you seen in terms of, customers coming into the store and wanting to take advantage of things like, endless aisle or having things shipped to them? Are you seeing that as being a real kind of popular choice that customers are wanting to do from retail?
Definitely. It's something I'm hearing merchants ask for more and more, the ability to kind of fulfill those orders from any of their locations. Really, again, just kind of comes back to enhancing that customer experience. And you even alluded to like a good example earlier. If someone's traveling and they don't necessarily like live locally, having that ability to ship the product from the online store or ship it from a different location ultimately comes back to that idea of really enhancing the customer experience.
Yeah, and that's actually, interestingly enough, a common use case that we saw here. We work with a lot of stores, retail stores here in the local Los Angeles area, and we had one kind of high-end shop in the Beverly Hills area where they would have actually a lot of tourists that would come and didn't want to take some kind of expensive bags. They had some really fancy, handbags, and they didn't want to take it with them in the plane, or they were afraid to put them in their luggage. So the store said, "Great, no problem. We can just go to the Shopify terminal and ship it to you." So that's actually quite popular. We've seen a lot of merchants do that, and so it's definitely very easy to do, with the Shopify point of sale. Patrick, what are you hearing from merchants in terms of what they're looking for, kind of checkout options on the point of sale? Have you heard anything that kind of aligns with what Danielle is saying?
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of this unified administration and having a kind of a seamless customer experience for all your typical transactions and buy online, pick up in store, and those types of things are obviously important. But what really gets me excited is kind of the opportunities that having a truly unified system presents. So, like if we're talking about this idea of purchasing in store and electing to have the product shipped to your home address because you're traveling, what about subscriptions, right? So if you're shopping at a supplement store, for example, and you're buying your protein powder, wouldn't it be great if you could in the store sign up for a subscription that you can then go to the online store and manage? Maybe you want to swap out vanilla for chocolate next month, or you want to pause your subscription for some reason. Really tying these two systems together and kind of finding these cool kind of unique use cases is super exciting, and something that really opens up when you have a really unified system like this. We also did have one more question come in on the chat that we might want to address, because I think it's super interesting. Taufik asks, can you control the point of sale price to be different from the online price? And I think there were some recent updates around this, Dean. but something definitely worth getting into.
Yeah, we definitely saw some great stuff. I'll turn it over to Danielle because she's from Shopify, but we definitely saw some really cool stuff announced at Editions about this.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, this is a really exciting new update we just had, and something I have been hearing from some of the kind of larger merchants who have got multi locations. Definitely a need for this idea of catalogs and having varied prices dependent on your locations or your online store. So happy to say that that is a new update and a new feature that we are offering.
I'm not sure if you can kind of say or not, but do you have any idea like timelines? Like, because we saw the announcement as well, on Monday at Editions. I think it's all becoming part of the markets as they were saying, right? So, do we have any idea when the timeline is when those could potentially be available?
I don't have an exact timeline. I would imagine it's probably fairly soon if we're announcing that publicly. But I can circle back on that one. We can always share it in a follow-up email to everyone.
Cool, thanks, Danielle. Yeah, we hear merchants asking for that. We're definitely excited about that and being able to have those different catalogs, for the different stores, especially when you have a lot of retail locations. When you've got a lot of stores and geographically across the U.S., you're just naturally going to have different pricing and different needs for each of those locations. So it's definitely very exciting to be able to kind of go in and manage all of that, from the administration side of things for sure. Before we kind of move on, we want to talk a little bit about reporting. Patrick, any other questions to kind of tackle?
There was one related to print-on-demand services, not exactly tied to point of sale, but we got a question coming here. Not sure if this is relevant to point of sale, but is it easy to add different print-on-demand services to the shop? I'm in the process of replying in the chat, but if you want to give a quick reply on that, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'll tackle that. I'll let Danielle kind of tackle that as well. Again, being a dev agency and a Shopify agency, we utilize the Shopify App Store a lot. And the Shopify App Store is super cool. If you haven't gone in there and looked yet, do yourself a favor and take a look. Pretty much anything and everything that you want, there's some kind of a great app that's available for it. And this is the magic of Shopify, right? It really extends Shopify. Shopify as a platform does a lot of great stuff. It's a really solid base. And then this amazing wealth of third-party developers are making some really, really great apps. And this print-on-demand space, direct to garment is a huge space. And there's a lot of really, really great apps to choose from. So I would say short answer, yeah, there's a lot of great stuff and apps that you can choose. But Danielle, I'd love you to kind of give your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Dean. Like there are so many of these third-party apps in our app store specific to drop shipping and kind of these print-on-demand products. Really, I like to think of our point of sale as just an extension of that Shopify ecosystem. So if there is the ability to, kind of add a great app, majority of the time, that's going to apply over to the point of sale as well. But definitely something you can sift through when you're comparing apps. You'll see in our app store, it'll say if it's compatible with Shopify point of sale or not.
Cool, thank you. Okay, well, let's jump back to the Shopify administration section. And again, there's so many sections to go through. There's a lot of really, really great stuff. But for sake of time, I think the last section we want to really talk about, which is super important, is the analytics. So, we've talked about having your retail orders coming in. We've talked about having your products. We've talked about having customers in the system. Once all of this information is all unified, this is where now you have real world data to use to make your business decisions. So for example, if you only had your online store coming into the reporting section here, then you wouldn't really know what's happening on the point of sale side. So when you need to make a decision, for example, do I need to reorder this shirt or this hat, right? When I need to go back, to reorder at the end of the month and restock, you want to know how many are actually selling. If it's a super hot seller, you're going to say, oh, well, maybe I should order more this time around, right? Because it's selling really well. If you aren't marrying your online and your point of sale, you might only be looking at the online store, and you could think to yourself, well, gosh, I only sold 2 last month. That must not be a hot seller. I'm not going to restock. But it's quite possible your retail store is saying, we're selling out. This is like the hot seller, right? This is the number one item. Order more, please, hurry. So this is an example where by having point of sale, by having your online orders all in one, now your reporting area here inside of Shopify can report on all of that. So you have a complete picture, you have the complete set of information, again, to make better and more informed decisions. So now all of those orders, all of your sales, all of the different channels, you can see all of that here. And there actually is, and again, going back to Monday's announcement, Shopify really just redid this analytics. So they're even better. There's even greater looks, even greater reports and things that are available. Danielle, I might have you chime in on in a minute here when we jump back to talk about that. But we're definitely excited about some of the cool stuff that we saw. But you have all of these great reports. You can see here there's tons of reports. You can see sales that are coming in. You can see gross profits, gross sales. You can see shipping and returns, everything that we just talked about, all of your finance information about customers, sales behavior, things that are coming into your store, how many people are going, sessions, and all of this is available across all of your connected locations. So again, talking about unifying everything and kind of putting it all together, these analytics let you make your decisions across all of your channels. So it's really, kind of properly informed information. I'm going to pop back over here to our kind of discussion. Danielle, is there anything you can tell us about some of the enhanced analytics that was just announced that's kind of coming to the dashboard?
I think you kind of already wrapped a bow on that one, but honestly, like the biggest thing I hear from a point of sale perspective is like the retail reports that people are looking to use. It's really different from merchant to merchant, what they're using on the day to day. But I know some of the big ones is like staff attribution, and things like commission tracking and tips, bestseller products. Like you're really able to get granular with our reporting based on what's important to you and your business, and really able to kind of customize that. And with some of these new enhanced features that we've launched, it really makes that process a lot easier for your admin users to nail down what they're looking for quickly and efficiently. And as you said, Dean, be able to make like better informed decisions based on those analytics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to pop back over to the Shopify screen here and jump back into point of sale, because we as well have noticed that, in a retail environment, especially these days, the management team really wants to know about attribution, right? Who's selling what? How are my teams doing? How are my systems going? So when you pop back into the point of sale, I'll show you how this looks to kind of put it all together. As we saw a moment ago, you can load up all of your locations, right? So that's kind of the first step. You want to load up all of your locations into the system, let Shopify know the physical location address, and then it's going to be able to start tracking all your sales. But in addition to just locations, as you see here, if I click over, you can also start loading up your team and your staff. So everybody who has access to the point of sale becomes a staff member, and they can log into the point of sale. And then you can decide what kind of access privileges that you need to give to them. But basically now you can start doing attributions and sales commissions, if you so choose, for everybody on your team. So, and all of the sales and everything feeds into those reports, as Danielle was just saying, right? So for example, in this case, I only have the 2 users, but if Joe here, did a bunch of sales, you can now run reports in the analytics and see, well, hey, how much is Joe selling this month? Oh, great. I need to give him, X number of commissions or whatever it may be. Or look, Joe's our top seller. Let's give him a raise, because he's doing so well. So again, you can make really, really great sales decisions right down to the individual sales, person level. And I'll just go ahead and click in here and you can see, right? So you can put all of your team members in here, give them their logins, their pins, and everything that you need. And all of that now can be tracked in your actual reporting. Even down to the level where you can see, what product, what attribution, and it can also be changed, right? So on the point of sale, and I don't have the point of sale screen here, but during the checkout process, a staff member could say, oh, you know what, maybe I want to actually give this attribution to somebody else. Maybe somebody else helped, or maybe it was a co-sell or something like that. The point of sale does allow you to actually manually change that or add additional people if you want to, or if you need to, so you can make sure you've got all that correct for your reporting. Great. Yeah. So again, there's tons of stuff here on the analytics side, way more than I can go through in the 5 minutes that we have left here. But it's really exciting to see how all of these reports really show a complete picture. And so I would say this is probably, at the end of the day, once everything that we just talked about, right? Once you've got all your products, once you have all your orders and everything, this is where you're going to be spending your time, right? If you're really looking to kind of grow your business and kind of see what's happening, you're going to be spending time inside of these analytics, looking at all the data and just figuring out how you can do more. And you have this picture here. And what's really cool too is you can create your own custom reports. So if there's something that you don't see here, you can just click here and say, oh, I need to see this specific piece of information or that specific piece of information. So there's some really cool ability to give you the data that you want and ensure that you're making informed decisions. So in the 5 quick minutes we have left here, I'm just going to kind of touch upon and show you some of the other really kind of quick, cool things that you can do to kind of whet your appetite. So right now, a lot of the things that we've shown you so far are the kind of Shopify Advanced. For those of you on Shopify Plus, this unified commerce does also extend to your B2B side of things. So in this case, since this is a B2B enabled account, I can also start bringing in all of my companies on the B2B side. So I can actually add companies, I can create customers, and those customers can be attached to companies. So now you can start really seeing, in addition to just having your retail and just having your online sales, you can now start tracking your B2B sales. So this is definitely really great, again, for making that complete picture. So you can add any kind of wholesalers, add different companies into the administration portal here, and then start tracking all of that. So you can see if somebody is placing orders from certain companies. It can help you with creating POs, helping with creating transfers. I think we were mentioning earlier about that. So again, it's not just D2C, it's also B2B, right? It's also the ability to really unify your B2B side of things in addition to the B2C side. So that's definitely important and a very growing segment. And then one other last cool thing is on the customer side is Shopify's marketing, right? So once you have all your customers, you have all your orders, now you can start creating really cool segments and create automations and create campaigns. So now that hey, kind of in the example I mentioned earlier, this is a really hot selling product, you can now create a campaign and let people know, hey, this shirt is a hot seller, check it out, here's a link, go buy it, right? There's all kinds of really great things that you can do, and you can create these automations, you can create these campaigns using that data. Again, back to the unified commerce concept, because you have all that data to use, your automations can be super smart. You can really say, okay, people in Texas retail location are really loving this one product. Let me let that region know about, customers know about this product. So there's a lot of really, really great stuff that you can do to alert your customers, again, because we're unifying and putting everything together. So we only have a couple of minutes left here. I do want to kind of bring it back here to the team and let everybody, kind of wrap things up. Again, we just kind of touched on just a few kind of things and a few topics. If you do have more questions about it, please feel free to email us back. I think most of you probably have a link that you received from the webinar. Feel free to reply. Feel free to drop some questions in the chat. We're happy to pass along things to Danielle as well, but we definitely want to hear from you, and we're certainly happy to answer more questions. Danielle, I'd love to kind of turn it over to you for any kind of wrap-up or thoughts you may have.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing we haven't touched on, because there's just an endless list of benefits when we do talk about unified commerce, but from the retail and the point of sale side of things, I think the thing that excites me the most is this ability to kind of replicate that enhanced online experience and bringing that in store. And there's really a lot of power in using Shop Pay. Things like being able to capture your customers' emails at checkout in store without your staff having to even ask for them. That's a big one. And then the other piece to Shop Pay that I think has a lot of power as well is this ability of offering installments in store. So I know we see on so many websites today, that buy now, kind of pay over 4-6 months installments. We're now able to offer that in store for your customers as well. So for some of those retailers that have kind of high ticket items, or you're looking to increase your average order value in store, certainly some really, really powerful tools in bringing Shop Pay and that same experience from online to your retail locations as well.
Great, thank you. Yeah, again, I wish we had more time. There's probably a million other great things we'd love to certainly try to tackle. But with that said, we do have other webinars coming up. Next month we do have another. We're continuing this Shopify POS kind of series. So definitely check our YouTube channel. We have another webinar coming up in July that's specifically talking about products and merchandising with a point of sale. And that is exact topic that Danielle is saying there. So please take a look at that. Patrick, I'll turn it over to you if you have any other questions or any kind of wrap up you want to have.
Yeah, no other questions came through the chat, but I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to the audience. Thanks for joining. Thanks for participating and sharing your questions. As you can tell, we love talking about unified commerce and kind of all the core benefits, but also kind of what's next. What are the possibilities? So please, reach out if you have any questions around either migrating to Shopify, if you're on Shopify and are considering the point of sale, or if you're using the point of sale already. How can you optimize it, and what cool new features can you consider? We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to learn more about your business and how we could help.
Definitely. And again, I'd like to say second that. So thank you, Danielle, for your time. I really appreciate having you on here. For those of you attending the webinar, look for a follow-up email. We're going to give away all this cool swag that we talked about. We've got a little trivia question coming via email. So if you signed up, look out for the follow-up email, and the first person that kind of hits us back with that response gets. Show them again, Patrick. We got the hat. What else you got?
We got hats. We got notebooks. We got a light box.
We got a lot of great stuff.
Thanks again, everyone.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff. Thank you to Shopify for the cool swag that we have to give away. Again, thank you, Danielle, for attending. Really appreciate it. If you do have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to follow up. It's YouTube, so I got to say it. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel. We do webinars every month, so we look forward to connecting with everybody. So thank you guys again, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks, everyone.